Britain's nuclear-powered hunter-killer submarines are on a state of constant alert.
Revolution's 5-0.
Submarines are key to the first line of defence of the United Kingdom.
Threat submarine in the area.
Part submerged spy.
One contact visual.
It's about making sure that harm doesn't reach our shores.
Part deadly weapon.
This is a ship of war. It is designed to inflict damage on other people.
Stand by, TLAM engagement.
That is the whole purpose of the submarine, is to deliver violence to the enemy.
Fire!
For decades, it's been a closed world.
We're the silent service. We don't generally talk about ourselves.
Smash on a course of 091. One sweep there, one contact visual.
For the first time ever, this series has full access to a British submarine on patrol as we follow HMS Turbulent on her final deployment. It's the story of 130 men in an isolated, cramped and close-knit world, thousands of miles from home and family.
So I just thought I'd phone you up and tell you how much I love you.
On a mission where discipline is paramount.
You can get the odd fight. In 3 months, you've been in front of me twice, which I think is unacceptable.
Teamwork is crucial.
We're a brotherhood that drive this submarine.
Amazing, isn't it? Middle of the ocean, British submarine, British helicopter, doing their jobs.
And danger is ever present.
You're not sure when anything's going to go wrong, because obviously we've got a nuclear reactor, so everything has to be done in a safe procedure.
You'll have seen the news with regards to Libya.
Unknown vessel, this is surface submarine. You are approaching me in a threatening manner.
As they sail through the Mediterranean and into the troubled waters of the Middle East. In this episode, the crew has Libya in its sights once more.
Bearing that, 210.
A sewage leak threatens the mission.
I appear to have slop all over my cabin.
Buster's in trouble again.
Off, cap.
And a moment's reflection amid the conflict.
We have come together today to commemorate the loss of HMS Turbulent and her crew in 1943.
HMS Turbulent has sailed from Plymouth to protect British interests in the troubled international waters east of the Suez Canal. Once underway, she was diverted to the central Mediterranean to join NATO's operation against the Gaddafi regime in Libya. Her job? To enforce the UN arms embargo against the Libyan dictator.
Captain, sir. Hello. The TSC is on VoIP, wishes to speak to you.
Okay.
Commander Ryan Ramsey has served on Dutch and American submarines during his time in the Royal Navy. He has commanded Turbs for 2.5 years.
TSC, this is the captain. I'm good, mate. How are you? Yeah, exactly.
The boat has replaced HMS Triumph, which launched Tomahawk missiles at Libyan targets, making Turbulent the only British submarine left on 2 hours' notice to fire. The captain is coordinating a practice Tomahawk, or TLAM strike, with his headquarters based just outside London.
Oh, it's unclear, isn't it? Clear as mud. No, but they've it's everything we discussed at our group. So we need to get this TLAM-X in to prove the Block 3 system works.
Yep.
And that's the key thing to making sure we're fully prepared for anything that comes on at this point.
Roger, sir. Stand by, TLAM engagement.
Seconds.
The exercise is a simulation, but the men take it as seriously as any real attack.
15 seconds.
By the time the genuine orders come, they need to be perfect.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Execute. Execute. Missile away, 1 2.
Missiles to approach. Booster separation. Transition to cruise.
The Deputy Weapons Engineering Officer gets the first 2 simulated missiles away successfully.
Next missile away will be in 1 minute's time.
Officer Shelter Watch, next missile away in 1 minute's time.
The captain is determined to ensure his men are prepared for all eventualities, so he adds a twist to the third.
I've made this more difficult than it needs to be. Actually, we need to be able to fight through some quite difficult scenarios. So the one that I've just placed in there for both my team without them knowing, and also for the headquarters, is actually the missile doesn't launch effectively.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Execute. Execute. Missile away 2 tube.
Missile seen to broach. Missile casualty. Missile seen to break up.
Roger, casualty.
Get FCO. Take that with a pull missile.
Roger, sir.
Now we've discovered that actually it becomes extremely difficult to make sure we've got the backup missile in place and alert the headquarters and do everything else, which is what they're working through now.
It's a useful discovery.
That went quite well. Whilst it might not have looked pretty, it actually had a lot of training value, certainly for us on board, because we now know we need to practice and keep practicing what happens when things don't go well.
The prospect of firing real missiles and taking human lives provokes mixed feelings amongst the men.
Do we want to send missiles that will invariably kill people? Do we want to do that? I think there's a part of us, deep down, everyone on board, that would rather this be resolved a different way. However, as the captain says himself, we're here to deliver violence to the enemy. That's what we'll do.
Weapon located in the tube.
This is what you're trained for. This is what you spend years doing, and then you could get the chance to do it for real and help people out.
1 tube, rear door, shut.
1 tube, rear door, shut. Quite excited in a way, because it's doing what the boat should be doing in effect, not just going around doing nothing, just patrolling. Should be firing weapons. That's what it's designed to do.
The previous 24 hours has seen us again.
At the morning all-group meeting, the boat's senior management team receives an intelligence briefing.
From the Med Maritime Summary, in the case of the Libyan Patrol boat, which was previously reported to be at sea conducting a coastal patrol, is now backing alongside Tripoli. The Russian replenishment ship, along with the MoMA...
With 12 navies contributing surface ships and submarines, NATO's operation against Gaddafi is the maritime equivalent of gridlock.
Coalition forces.
When they're not patrolling or training, turbulence men know they may be called upon to fire at any time.
Tuesday Revolution set, speed by log 5.4 knots.
Yet most of the time in the conflict zone is simply spent waiting.
Outwardly, I'm relaxed because the team have done everything that needs to be done. We're completely ready, comms is established. I know that my teams are going to perform when they need to perform it, but actually, before anything, you need to be relaxed totally. You need the whole team to relax, and it needs to be just normal business.
As a hunter-killer submarine, HMS Turbulent's normal business includes delivering lethal force.
A nuclear-powered submarine like HMS Turbulent is the most complex military platform that the United Kingdom owns. I mean, it's made up of more than 1 million parts. It's kind of strange because some of the technology dates back to the 1950s. So ship control over here, the autopilot, for example, is based upon the same autopilot that was used on the Avro Lancaster bomber from the Second World War. But it works, so why change it if it works correctly? And then on the other side, for our fire control, action information organisation and our sensors, they're at the late 20th, early 21st century.
But just when they need it to be performing at its peak, the submarine's about to let them down.
Nice, just a little bit of water. I appear to have slop all over my cabin.
Stand clear search. Race search.
Race search.
HMS Turbulent is in the NATO operational area off the Libyan coast. As pro-Gaddafi forces and rebels battle for control of the town of Brega, her crew remain on standby to launch missiles at targets in Libya. In this busy operational zone, the warfare specialists need to plot exactly where their allies are.
Pursue 20 starboard.
No, put me 30 starboard.
Pursue 30 starboard. True bearing 201, max range 3,500 yards.
Range of 7,500 yards.
Range 7,500 yards.
Yet on this occasion, they've left a couple of aircraft carriers and their support ships out of the intelligence picture they've been building up.
One sweep, nothing close.
The captain is not best pleased.
You're lucky that these are friendly forces, okay? We cannot afford to lose information like that. So switch on, sort it out, we can do much better than this, okay? That was not acceptable, any of it.
Right, fellas, we need to learn to react quicker, right? When the tempo changes like that, we need to learn to react quicker, right? Okay.
Positions off the right try report, standby brief. Still hold the ANAPS 116 at plus 13. Intention now is to adopt an intermittent all-round look on the search periscope until this unit has withdrawn before raising the S6 mast. Then a brief stand report.
Once clear of the carrier battle group, the captain moves the boat further inshore from where the rooftops of Tripoli are visible through the periscope, and her chances of being detected in shallow waters are significantly increased. Her mission is to gather intelligence on Libyan shipping, which may be breaking the UN arms embargo.
17 merchant vessels are reported to be dotted around off the major towns off the coast, suspected of smuggling arms.
We want to know the known disposition of Libyan naval forces at the moment between Tripoli and Al-Qums, the capability of the Libyan Air Force post all the strikes, in particular any kind of maritime element, pre-existing knowledge of the Libyan C3 infrastructure and what we can use exploiting our onboard sensors. They should go this evening.
Okay. This is a good thing for us to be doing, because this is going to be a dense shipping environment, lots of activity, lots of military activity, situations on the shore. I want to get close enough that we can gather video evidence, finding those merchant vessels that are transporting possible mercenaries, arms, everything else, finding out what the military activity is and taking control of it and making sure that we do what we're good at doing. All right?
Red 60, true bearing 210.
But the biggest threat to the boat turns out to be of the crew's own making. The garbage chute, which discharges rubbish into deep water, and Peter the Eater, the galley's waste disposal unit, are blocked.
More and more defects coming up, okay? That's fair enough. I'll accept the defects that happen as a matter of course, but what I won't accept is defects that have resulted from complacency, and there's been 2 of those over the last 24 hours, okay? The Garbo and also Peter the Eater. Do not get comfortable on board the platform, okay? She's delicate, she needs looking after, and we need to make sure that we focus towards that.
With nowhere to drain wastewater, the men are in effect drowning in their own sewage.
It's pissing all over me. Just make sure the galley staff aren't throwing any more water down there.
The failure of the boat's waste disposal system is wreaking havoc, especially in the galley. And the man who's going to have to solve it is marine engineer Dan Gardown. Born in Germany, raised in New Zealand, Dan is a consummate British patriot. He prides himself on his knowledge of turbulent.
The waste in the galley goes through a machine called Peter the Eater, which mixes up and mashes up any sort of bones, food waste, material, grey matter, and turns it into a slop so that we can discharge it through the sewage hole valve. But because the chefs put their cardboard through Peter the Eater, that's gone into the slop system, which basically is backing up the sinks and the scuppers.
It's a bad day. A bad day to be working in the galley. And all fingers are pointing towards us, but it's an old boat, old pipes.
Yeah, what are the
and there are miles of pipes.
Control room, cab space, time tower.
When things go wrong at sea, there's no one Turbulent's crew can call to help them out. They need to be totally self-sufficient.
Captain's cabin sink, BWA scupper,
DOF space scuppers.
The DOF space scuppers.
Here we are, another glorious day in Her Majesty's Royal Navy.
Oh, shit, he's there.
Seems all right. Until they start blowing again. I've been on this boat now for 5.5 years. Without blowing roses up my own arse, I've got quite a lot of experience on here. I know how she runs, I know how to tweak her and all her little nooks and crannies and all her faults and defects. I'll poke my head round there and see. Yes, just. Do you see that? It's sod's law, just as I poke my head round there as well. You can see why I wanted to have 2 hands on it now, can't you? Can you imagine that going all over the captain's cabin?
I don't care what it looks like when you've drilled it, just drill a hole.
That's the beautiful thing about being a submariner, is there's no training course that will teach you everything you need to know about submarines. It's all handed down by word of mouth from submariner to submariner.
I know Mr. Godine very well anyway, but he might be lodging in my cabin in this way. Squatter's rights.
Can I have a bit, sir?
Yeah.
Cheers, sir. I'm fairly low down, but I'm quite well respected because of my knowledge. So hopefully I'm going to get my promotion soon. I've just got to learn to keep my mouth shut.
Eventually, Dan and the team get the problem sorted, but at a cost.
We've done it. It's taken about 12 hours to fix this. 12 hours, 4 or 5 men, so about 60 man hours to fix a blocked pipe. But what else are we going to do? We've got to fix it.
Richard Farrow is the boat's logistics officer. He joined the Navy straight after graduating from university. He's got the most difficult job on the boat, but now he's under intense pressure to up his game. He's days away from taking his basic submarine qualification, which he desperately needs to pass.
So, okay, so this walk round.
Before that, Richard has to do a walk round with the executive officer and impress him with his knowledge of the boat and its operations.
Vulnerable timers, if you like, for gun handover.
The Midnight, the 0300.
Yeah.
The XO will ask me about things particular to him, what he's interested in, and as such I don't know what necessarily those will be. He'll have some peculiar things that he likes to ask about, and I'm hoping I know the answers, so we'll just have to see how it goes.
Tell me about the draft marks, limits for opening the weapons embarkation hatch.
Yeah.
Richard has taken longer than I would expect an officer to take to complete his BSQ training. He has had some other things to do whilst getting qualified. However, I still expect him to qualify in the period allotted.
That's probably the best walk around I've done out of the ones I've done so far, and I'm a lot more confident about my board because a lot of those questions were sort of specific officer of the day questions and things that the XO and the captain would expect me to know. Monday morning, I think it's...
Yeah, it was a satisfactory walk round. The point of the walk round is to make sure he's got a broad understanding of a lot of topics, such that when he's on the submarine by himself with only 18 other people in the middle of the night and something goes wrong, he knows how to deal with it.
I just can't plan for that. We could have defects, we could have content.
He's been on board 6 months now, so Monday is his deadline to get qualified, and if he gets qualified, he'll be rewarded with an officer day duty in Crete in a couple of weeks' time when we arrive there.
Every bit as vital as the submarine's wardroom is its galley, where 3 chefs cook 400 meals a day.
Yeah, it's important. You've got to have good food, otherwise we just get it all the time. We've got a 130 crew, they're all food critics, every single one of them. There's only 3 of us actually trained to cook on board, but they're all excellent chefs.
Today's Wednesday, so it's curry day. So the chefs have made 2 curries, chicken tikka masala and a lamb madras. Traditionally we'd have fish and chips on a Friday, roast dinner on a Sunday, pizza on a Sunday night. We don't like to change things too much. The boys know what day of the week it is by what's on the menu normally.
But there's food for the soul as well as for the stomach. Every Sunday, a church service. It attracts both committed Christians.
Father in heaven, who the baptism of Jesus in the River Jordan, proclaimed to him your beloved Son, anointed him.
And those who, like Buster, are lured by the prospect of coffee and chocolate biscuits.
Don't you think it's bizarre that we're having a church service and we're 12 hours notice far too long to live.
It becomes an occasion to discuss the ethics of their current mission.
If it's not in the name of anything religious, it's purely a political or military act, how can you kind of justify that in your own act?
Our aim isn't to kill people, it's to help defend the rights of whoever we're choosing to defend.
For some good.
Yes.
It's an interesting conundrum, the whole how you deal with that, but actually I don't think there's an issue, you just get on and do it. But that's my responsibility to say, so you don't have to worry about that. It says legally.
Rangers automatic trying to course north, speed 12 knots to strike 1,000.
As the church service continues, up in the control room, the officer of the watch has had his suspicions raised by a merchant vessel leaving Tripoli harbour.
There are possible visual contacts there from the Bob again, deep 30 metres for doing 12 knots for 12 minutes.
The captain and the XO are forced to leave the service.
Stand by, submarine going deep to 30 metres.
140 minutes left to dry Roger.
This may be a routine procedure as it comes out of Tripoli. If it does increase in speed then and pass out of territorial waters, then it will come into our sort of range of activity. We can then go in, get a name recovery off the side of the vessel. So it's this contact track 37. So he's at range, probably 15,000 yards, about 30 starboard, probably 40 actually. Got a time attack will last of 19 minutes at 15 knots.
Speed is 15 knots.
Like all submarine officers, Gareth can quickly calculate intercept courses just using mental arithmetic.
22 minutes.
Turbs sets off in pursuit.
Officers officer watch, hold report, standby brief. Intention is to attempt to bin track 37. This contact is at range already with an ATB of 40. Going to attempt to change. 6 up. Keep 18 metres. Sins VT.
Gareth's calculation was spot on. After 22 minutes at high speed, Turbulent comes up right on target.
Well, bearing that, 210 cut. On top that, 6 minutes. Down.
The crew alerts a NATO surface ship to the presence of the suspect merchant vessel. But as they close on their quarry, they hit a problem. A plane overhead, searching the water. It may not be the enemy, but for a vessel that depends on stealth, the risk of being spotted is too great. So Turbs pulls out.
The majority of detections by aircraft are either by radar or more likely actually by somebody actually looking out the window and seeing the periscope feather, particularly at the moment when the sea state's so low. It's so flat calm out there that it's quite obvious that there's a periscope there moving through the water.
Okay, I'm happy to stand down the bin manning for now, with any extra manning, and I'll stand the watch 2 again if we need it.
The sonar specialists are picking up explosions in the sea. Unused bombs from the hundreds of NATO air raids, they're a constant reminder of the conflict in Libya.
Basically, it's bombs that they don't need anymore, and they can't land back on their platform with them. So they have a safe zone where they drop bombs. It's a safety factor than taking them back to their unit.
HMS Turbulent has already overcome 2 mechanical failures caused by human error. But her future involvement in the NATO operation is about to be put to a much more serious test. For the past week, HMS Turbulent has been patrolling off the Libyan coast, gathering intelligence on shipping. But even in the conflict zone, normal life on board continues. For Richard, this means preparing to take his long overdue basic submarine qualification. Passing his BSQ will enable Richard, who's on an official warning, to stand watch as officer of the day when the boat is in port. Not just his pride, but his career is at stake.
It's a £500 million worth of submarine. It's got a nuclear reactor on it, and I want to make sure that you are going to, you've got the requisite knowledge to make sure that the submarine is looked after safely, that you call the heads of the department and myself at the right time in order that we can take action. And actually the huge workload that is imposed on you as officer of the day alongside that you're able to cope with that. We're not here to trip you up, catch you out. We're here to make sure that you've got the requisite knowledge to lead your team effectively and keep the submarine safe throughout all of those demanding things. Okay, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Why do we need to control access to it?
The 4 most senior officers on the boat subject Richard to a 2-hour round of questioning. Then it's a nervous wait outside the wardroom while they deliberate.
He's answered these questions. When you go off piste a bit, he's a little bit unsure, but I think he knows enough, certainly from his walk-rounds, to be a... Bottom line is, I think he'd be a safe officer today.
It's not as if this is all new to him. And safe, I think he's a safe pair of hands. He knows what I'm talking about, explosives, masts, safety and all that. So,
do you know what I think gives me some concern is that when he doesn't know, he does seem to take a guess, and that was evident to me when he did his walk round. In the main, this is a level of performance that is satisfactory, but I think for someone who's got the level of experience and the professional sort of background and aspirations, I'd have expected perhaps a little more, but satisfactory nonetheless.
Okay, I think the piece, I think you did answer most of the questions in sufficient depth that gives us confidence as a group that you will keep the submarine safe. There's one weakness which you need to address pretty quickly, and that is the thorough knowledge of health and safety. Your experience of officer daying on Trafalgar-class submarines will increase because obviously there's enough duties for you to do, but it's about making sure that you do the right thing at the right time. But well done.
Thanks, sir.
6 months late, Richard's finally made it.
It's taken me too long, but a huge relief that it's done, and I'm actually going to, I think, sleep very well with a bit of pressure off. There's more qualifications and boards to come, but this is the key one that means that I can start helping the submarine with the duty watch bill, and I stop feeling quite so much like a trainee.
Turbulent's crew is under constant pressure to reduce noise. A mechanical clank inside the boat could be heard by underwater enemies many miles away. In the conflict zone, that pressure is even greater. Today, the job of keeping the submarine silent falls to Chief Petty Officer Matt Ling. Matt joined the Navy aged 16 and has served more than 22 years on submarines.
See, that's something like this is quite badly stowed. It's a piece of our alongside firefighting equipment, but it's heavy, it's big, it's not stowed down properly, and it's making contact with the pressure hull. So obviously, if that rattles around, that'll create a big ugly transient, i.e. a big noise through the water. I always wanted to be a submariner. It was just doing something that not everybody gets a chance to do. It was going underwater and carrying out submarine warfare on a submarine covertly. It was the whole ideology behind being undetected and being silent, basically. You know, there are aspects of the job that I don't enjoy. Certainly the being away and the isolation, but that's something we learn to deal with. But I still get really excited about submarine warfare. It's something that really does flick my switch still.
Matt's team includes Buster Brown, who's about to attend his second captain's table. He returned late from a brief stop alongside in Plymouth after the Fost inspection.
Yeah.
Less than 2 years into his submarine career, former fish farmer Buster can expect a much harsher punishment for reporting late a second time.
After I've read you the charge, I'll then stand with these, okay?
Most of the time, relations between the crew are relaxed. Not here. This is old-school Navy discipline.
Able Submarine Brown. Able Submarine Brown. Off, cap.
Do you understand the charge against you?
Yes, I do, sir.
Have you had sufficient time to prepare for this hearing?
Yes, sir.
You were charged as follows. Coxswain, read the first charge.
Sir, Able Seaman Warfare Specialist Andrew Brown did on the 18th of March 2011, without reasonable excuse, failed to attend his place of duty on board HMS Turbulent at 0800.
Do you admit or deny the charge?
I admit it, sir.
Do you or your assisting officer wish to make a plea of mitigation?
Me, myself, sir.
Okay.
Sir, there isn't a lot I can say about the charge brought against me, as I'm clearly guilty of the offence. To oversleep and be adrift is personally embarrassing and unacceptable, and I'm honestly sorry to have to be standing here in front of you today. However, after taking your previous advice about my personal situation, I've done what is necessary. The conclusion that I've come to time and time again is that I do want to do this. I do want to be the good submariner that I know I can be. I would like to take this opportunity to apologise and ensure to you that nothing like this would ever happen again. So, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I believe Brown's words are genuine. I also believe that he's truly remorseful for his appearance again at your table. Professionally, I have no concerns with regards to his development. He has shown drive and determination within the development of his task book, and I see no reason why, potentially, he's not capable of completing this early.
Okay. Having found the charge proved against you, I award you 3 days stoppage of leave to be put in place in Fujairah. This is not your first offence. You've only been on board my submarine for 3 months, and in 3 months you've been in front of me twice, which I think is unacceptable. This hearing is now concluded.
Able Seaman Brown, on cap. Right turn, quick march, right wheel.
Right, chops. Turn him round and make sure he's getting the right way, okay? And that's for all of us.
Yes,
okay?
Carry on, sir.
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir.
Formalities over, Commander Ramsey offers a little advice of his own.
You carry on at the rate of work you do, then you've got a real chance of success. But when we get to Fujairah, you're going to you'll have your stoppage of leave, but after that you're going to go ashore. And your big challenge, which I think is one of the key things you need to take care of, is alcohol. Because if you drink too much, you're going to wake up late and you're going to end up in front of me again. If you drink too much, it's all about how you control yourself when you drink, etc., etc. So do not, and I'm giving you a warning now as your captain to one of my men, do not allow yourself to get in that position. Promise me that you're going to do the right thing with this.
I will do, sir. This is my chance, isn't it? This is my chance.
We'll make sure you take it.
All right.
Okay, thanks very much.
3 days stoppage leaves. It's really good, actually. It's really good. To give me the chances, it's a really good plan. At the end of the day, it's better than just a normal boss. It's good.
Would you think you'd be able to turn yourself around now?
To be honest, I've got to turn a few things around, but straight and narrow. That's all I can do. And yeah, I'll make the effort. Definitely make the effort.
Turbulent's nuclear reactor powers 2 steam generators used to produce air, water, electricity, and crucially, the energy to propel the boat. In theory, she could stay submerged indefinitely, or at least until the crew's food ran out. But now one of the generators has developed a mission-threatening fault, and Ben Stafford has to fix it.
The main focus of today's effort has been getting ready to repair the starboard feed flexi.
Last night we were very unfortunate and we suffered a significant defect on our system, which is used to generate steam to propel the submarine and generate electrical power as required.
The Marine Engineering Officer has requested a flexible hose be flown out from the UK immediately to replace the stricken component. But at O Group, the captain suggests that this may not happen.
The challenge now is how we recover from this, because actually we might not get a helo transfer today. The focus has got to be on the TLAM strike and then making a decision as to whether we're going to go and operate off the Libyan coast, gathering intelligence in the state we are in today.
Though there is sufficient power to meet Turbulent's everyday domestic needs, the boat can only generate half speed. So she limps out of the operational area and heads 250 miles north to a NATO base at Suda Bay in Crete.
Good evening, men. It's XO speaking with the world at 1900. As you are aware, we are heading to Suda Bay in order to embark stores to rectify a defect on the feed system. However, do not lose focus over the next 72 hours, as we will remain at 12 hours notice to fire TLAM. And so long as the situation in Libya can be described as at best unstable, there's every chance we will fire TLAM next week. Enjoy your fish and chips, men. This is the XO. That is all.
Submarine approaching 16 meters, return position 4. Subsig now, subsig now.
Over the past 24 hours, Turbulent has covered the 250 miles from her position off Libya to Suda Bay on the island of Crete. Royal Navy stores have arranged for the spare parts Turbulent desperately needs to be flown out from the UK.
We're still at 12 hours notice to fire, even though we're on the surface here and close to Crete. So actually, once we've recovered these, we need to get back out as quickly as possible, back into dive water, start heading back towards where we need to be in order to use Tomahawk if required in the next few days.
This is HMS Turbulent's first contact with land since she left Plymouth.
10, roger.
The boat picks up mail for her crew along with spare parts.
Thanks, man.
Come right to 270.
Starboard 10, steer 270.
Starboard 10, steer 270.
But no sooner is she underway than a discovery is made. The crucial parts she needs aren't in the package. Logistics Officer Richard gets on the phone to the shipping agent.
Hello, Mr. Hondrakis. This is Lieutenant Richard Farrow, the logistics officer calling from HMS Turbulent. Unfortunately, the part was not on the boat transfer. I shall call you again in a couple of minutes.
There's no point going any further. As the boat waits, Richard finally gets through to Mr. Hondrakis.
But obviously we did not get the O-rings and the flexibles. Yeah, the hose assembly, the second pack of stores then arrived at the airport, and the agent obviously missed that, but that had all the critical things that we needed for the repair. So hopefully we're going to get that on a boat transfer and have those brought out to us this afternoon.
The hold-up affords the crew a rare opportunity to escape their tin can. Not that that's to everyone's taste.
Sunshine and fresh air are overrated, in my opinion, as a submariner, but the chaps are enjoying it, so I'll let them crack on.
Being so close to land means the men can get a mobile telephone signal.
I can't say where we are or what we're doing, but we're just on the surface at the moment, and really quick opportunity to make phone calls, so I just thought I'd phone you up and tell you how much I love you.
Meanwhile, it turns out the missing flexible hose never left the UK, leaving the captain with an almighty problem.
Yeah, the situation is at the moment that the stores we really need haven't yet arrived in country, so they can't be transported out to us. It's still at 12 hours notice to fire, but we're in totally the wrong place to be able to fire, and actually at our limited speed and trying to make it to where we're supposed to be able to fire in 12 hours. We're on the verge of that now.
If she can't make it back, Turb's whole mission is in trouble. HMS Turbulent is heading back to the conflict zone of Libya, still missing the spare parts needed to repair a steam generator. Fortunately, Marine Engineering Officer Ben has been working on a plan B, a little bit of DIY.
So this repair, as it turns out, was pretty much managed on board using materials that we made ourselves.
They've put that together, put the bungs in place and restored everything back to normal. So we're back in double main engine drive, propelling. We've got pretty much everything available to us, so it's quite an achievement and I'm very proud of what they've done.
I think I'm going to draw a line under the last few days, have a cup of tea and probably go to bed.
At last, the crew of Turbulent can look forward to resuming their duties at full power.
No, he hasn't, but I have. Do you want me to show her?
Good evening, men. It's EXO speaking with the world at 1900. You will be aware that we are on the surface heading deeper into the op area. We will be in area tomorrow at lunchtime. It is possible that we will be in pre-position to conduct a TLAM strike tomorrow evening. However, at present that is speculation. We will find out in the morning what is happening and you will be briefed accordingly. Until such time as more details are known, I'll ask you to remain focused. Have a good evening, men. This is the EXO. That's all.
Most of the crew works 2 6-hour watches every day. But when they're not sleeping, there is limited scope for leisure activities.
I'm a firm believer, more time spent on my bed asleep, the shorter the trip is. Obviously, there's only so much kit you can get, so I tend to watch DVDs and things like that. And that's basically it. That's the sum of my existence. If I'm not watch keeping, I'm sleeping.
Overnight, the boat has received fresh orders to turn around and head back to Suda Bay.
It was a little bit of a disappointment because when I went to bed, I was expecting to be, in our area ready to fire, and then I wake up and we're on the surface transiting in the opposite direction again. So it's a bit of a shocker for me, yeah.
To be honest with you, it's a bit of a pain in the arse, isn't it? For the past 2-3 weeks, we've not known what's going on outside the world, and then all of a sudden we've got to be ready to fire. Then we're told, no, we're not going to fire. Then we're told, you're going alongside, you're going to have a run ashore. No, you're not. It's not going to happen. We've just travelled 200 miles overnight. Now we've just got to where we're supposed to be, and we've just been told, oh no, doesn't matter. You're not needed to fire. You can go back to where you were.
One task remains before they land at Crete. One that's as close to the men's hearts as their duties in Libya. The crew pauses to remember the last submarine to bear the name Turbulent. It was sunk on patrol during the Second World War.
Turbulent was lost having hit a mine off Sicily. Submarine service has got a very proud history and an awesome reputation today. It's because of the sacrifices made by our forebears. So it's entirely appropriate today on our transit. We just dwell at pause of too much in places to remember those who've gone before.
We have come together today to remember those who have died in war and conflict in service of their country and mankind. In particular, to commemorate the loss of HMS Turbulent and her crew in 1943. Off, caps!
Carry on.
HMS Turbulent, ha! To your duties, turning right, full out!
Danger is never far from the Royal Navy's submariners. The next leg of their transit will take them to the Suez Canal and see them hunting down pirates in the volatile waters beyond.